y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kia Simone, and now we got to get into this week's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville, where it looks like Kimmy has finally found her voice, and I pray she is playing finders keepers. But let's just get into it. Before we do, y'all know the drill. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. This week's episode opens up with Kimmy, Maurice, and Maurice's brother Micah at this new office building that they are building, apparently to rent out or have the offices in child. I don't know. Kimmy is complaining to Maurice about the progress of the project, and Maurice is saying, I don't understand why you telling me this. How the hell did I get to be part of the construction crew? She said, because your brother is the damn construction crew, and you've allowed your brother to drag his feet, so now I got to put my foot to your ass. Maurice said, well, he was thinking that they could just hire somebody who could tie up all the loose ends that his brother didn't finish. Kimmy said, so hold on. You think I'm supposed to throw good money after bad? You think I'm supposed to go pay somebody else after we already paid the project manager, your damn brother? Maurice said, well, the problem is you're complaining about and asking for stuff that wasn't in the project. That's why I'm saying we need to hire somebody else. Like, for example, you decided that you wanted a microwave in your suite. Kimmy said, I also decided that I wanted a husband that was handy, but Maurice said, oh God. She said, yeah, a husband who has since decided that he don't want to be that handy. He said, I never wanted to build. You knew that before we got married. She said, no, the hell I didn't. Maurice said, Kimberly, when was I building? She said, Maurice, you acted like you loved it and now you don't want to fix nothing. You better tell him something. Maurice said, I think you just want to see me out there working and sweating. She said, I do. You're right. I felt like the person I was marrying, I would never have nothing broke in my house. I would never have to ask nobody to come fix nothing, to come hang a picture, to do nothing like that because I had somebody who could do that. Well, ma'am, that was his representative. This is who he is. Maurice said, yeah, but he's a lawyer as well. Do you know how much work goes into just one lawsuit? Well, could you tell us, have you had one? Kimmy said, I don't have to know. Maurice said, we have a bunch of lawsuits going on right now. Kimmy said, that's what you elected to do. You also elected to have multiple investment properties. You elected to have a family. So nobody needs to keep hearing that you're a lawyer. I said, if y'all don't bring a broom and sweep up his damn feelings. Kimmy said, you act like you don't want to help me. He said, no, that's just give me a list. Give me a list and I'll get it done. Yeah. That sound better. Kimmy said in the confessional that she feels like Maurice only helps her when it's convenient for him, when it's mutually beneficial, or when she asks him. She needs you to take some initiative like you be trying to take her to that bedroom. He said, well, I'm working on my mind reading skills. Well, Mr. Lawyer, you don't have to read minds. All you have to do is comprehend words. Ask her what she wants. She'll tell you, I'm sure. Well, now that she got that off her chest, she ready to tell Tisha business. I hope that felt good for you. She's telling him how they went for a yoni steam and it's supposed to help her libido. He think it's a bill of goods and a bag of bullshit. But they just sell y'all anything. No, the lady is trying to get help for your ass. You won't let her get up out her hospital bed good before you over there. You gonna give me some ass? So she trying to fix some shit and figure out how can I get in the mood to give this man some ass so he can leave me alone. So Kimmy is telling Maurice, you don't know what the hell you talking about. I enjoyed my steam. I actually even enjoyed Tisha's company in the steam. And speaking of Tisha's company, child, let me tell you what they got going on. So she's telling Maurice about how, Tisha seems to be overwhelmed. She has a lot going on. And the lady asked before we did the steam, are either of you pregnant? Because you cannot do this if you're early in pregnancy. I told the lady, no, come on, let's get to it. Tisha told the lady, well, I don't know. Maurice said, say what now? Kimmy is telling Maurice how I was telling Tisha, Marcel got a damn vasectomy. So what the hell are you talking about, girl? She said that girl went and took the damn test anyway. I told her I don't need to know the result. Maurice sat up like, I know your ass is lying. I know the tables ain't turning around this motherfucker. Kimmy said, well, the test was negative. Maurice said, but the fact that she would take a test, period. Like how long we done had these vasectomies? We went and got vasectomies about 4 or 5 years ago. I said, no, y'all went on a group trip. Kimmy said, well, she was saying, it might have been a failure of the vasectomy. Something might have slipped through. Maurice said if it was going to be a slip, the slip would have happened years ago when the vasectomy happened. This some bullshit. Maurice said, what the hell is she doing? Kimmy said, that's what I was asking her. I asked her, what you think? Marceau is going to think when he sees that you took a pregnancy test and he knows he got a vasectomy. I said, well, I would think he thinks it's a damn storyline for this TV show because I know Miss Wanda, who done had 2 men since the 80s, done told this girl better than this. So Kimmy is telling Maurice, don't tell Marcel. And I'm not. He's a damn lie. Maurice said he thinks what Tisha's issue is she's taking on too much. She has on too many hats in terms of real estate, sculpt, and all these other professional projects. Then she's having problems with her family in terms of Kiki and all this foolishness. He said, you know what I think Tisha needs? Tisha need a solo trip to Africa. That's what she need. It seemed to help Marcel, so she might need one her damn self. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So we move on. We see that Tisha is at the construction site for her real estate office, and she's being met there by Stormy. So she's telling Stormy that they're at the stage where all the drywall is getting ready to go up so that she can come in and be more productive in this project because she doesn't feel like she's being productive at home. Well, Tisha, what is it? Either you need to be a stay-at-home mom because you are overwhelmed by work, or you want to go to work because you're overwhelmed by being a stay-at-home mom. So Stormy starts with the regular bullshit about how Tisha has been since the cookout. Ain't you seen this damn girl since the cookout? Don't y'all have each other's numbers? Why is this all y'all talk about? Tisha said, I've been great. I just came back from a vacation. As a matter of fact, I'm real good. Stormy said, so you haven't talked to Kiki? She said, girl, no. She said, so you just not gonna talk to Kiki? She said, Stormy said, well, you know, I'm an advocate of if it breaks down, put it back together. You know, I just don't want to see y'all fall apart. You are a disingenuous ass lie. Tisha said what happened at that cookout pretty much put a nail in the coffin for me and Kiki. Stormy said, oh, I hate to hear it. Tisha said, but even at the cookout, you got emotional because you have a friend who has struggled with addiction. You did as much as you could to help that person, and then you had to back away. Stormy had the audacity to say, well, that's different. How? And that's what Tisha said. Tisha said, how? Stormy said, well, because Kiki is in recovery and she's not currently using. Tisha said she is though. Well, okay. Tisha said, now I cannot say that I have seen her take a pill, but what I can say is the behavior that she's displaying is very, very similar to the behavior that she was displaying when I knew she was using. So Stormy is in the confessional talking about how drug addiction and abuse is not anything to be taken lightly. And you don't just make those kinds of accusations against someone, especially when you don't have any proof. But you sat your ass at that table at that cookout and announced to everybody that some friend that is unknown to us but known to your circles has some drug addiction. Now, they weren't there to defend themselves. You don't have no proof. We ain't got nothing but your word. And the whole point of you bringing that up was to paint yourself out to be some savior while you were exposing this person to whoever it is in y'all's lives that may or may not know that they had an addiction. So please take your games and go to hell. Tisha said, listen, I understand that you formed a friendship with Kiki, but my thing is this. I feel like you have a friendship with her and then you have a separate friendship with me, and that's the way it's gonna be. Stormy said, well, girl, just go ahead and tell me about your trips. I'm gonna mind my damn business because clearly there's no fixing this shit. And on top of that, this is some family shit, so I'm gonna take 2 steps on back. That's what you do. Tisha starts telling Stormy about her trip, that she went to Vegas with her college girlfriends. Girl, I gained weight. I was eating good food and everything. So then why was you playing in our face about you think you pregnant? Go somewhere. So Stormy asked Tisha, well, did Marcel go with you on this trip? Now, why he would go on a trip with her and her girlfriends is beyond me, but okay. She said, no, actually, he went on a bachelor trip to Colombia with his business partner. They're getting married. They went actually the weekend of our anniversary. Excuse me, what? Tisha said, I don't even know what there is to do there, but he gave me some itinerary they had. Stormy said, that's like the brothel place. Tisha said, it is? Stormy said, yeah, girl, Google it. That's where all the prostitutes and stuff be at. A lot of men go there for their bachelor trips. What? Tisha said, well, they be in Vegas too like that. I know that's right. One band, one sound. Tisha said, well, all I know is he said they had a good time. Stormy said, yeah, I bet they did. Tisha said in the confessional, Marcel and I are both adults. We know how to behave ourselves. We're out having a good time and living life. Maybe you should get out of the warehouse and go have you a little fun. Girl, well, damn. Tisha said, well, speaking of, how's Courtney? Stormy said, oh, he's good. Tisha says he's still upset. Stormy said, well, he was never upset. Courtney ain't the type to get upset. Marcel be playing. Courtney just don't play like that. Stormy want to be married to Nino Brown so motherfucking bad. Tisha said, well, you know Marcel is a big joker. Stormy said, but we weren't joking, though. It was a pretty heated situation. And, you know, most men don't even play that game. They don't play with their wives like that. Well, yours does. Apparently, Courtney is about them games because he sat his ass there and let you go back and forth with a man, calling him all kind of bitches and calling him out his name and getting your feelings hurt because you don't have the vocabulary or intellect to keep up in an argument. Stormy said, well, anyway, before the whole town hall and me calling your husband all kinds of peaches. We were talking about going on a double date, and I think we should still do that. Tisha's looking around like this is gonna be some bullshit, but okay. So Stormy is acting like she give a damn what's going on in Tisha's life, but how are the kids? She said, oh, they're good. Their hairline is doing great, because that's what you want to talk about. Stormy said, well, you know, the stuff with the website done come back round again. Tisha said, I know, but my focus has been more on Scott Realty and Skolt, so I haven't been as hands-on as I should have been, and my assistant said she read through everything, but clearly she did not. And at the end of the day, it's my team's fault because we should have caught that and we didn't. I called the web designer and he said, my bad. I mean, it was a mistake. She's saying it like the man is the damn dummy. I mean, he corrected it, so I guess it's just a mistake, but you know what they say, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Girl, Tisha, play with somebody else. You're in this moment pretending to take accountability while you are still trying to make everybody else responsible. Stormy said, well, are you going to apologize to me too? Tisha said, for what? Stormy said, no, seriously, there were people making videos about it. They were throwing my brand under the bus, saying we were in cahoots. Well, baby, your brand went under the bus when you rolled the bus over it. Your brand kind of went up under the bus when you had got on this internet and chopped off all your hair after you claimed to have a hair product that was supposed to make you grow healthy, long hair, and you said all your shit was damaged and had to go. That was kind of part of the problem. Tisha said, well, haters gonna be haters. That just comes with the nature of the business and being on this damn show. All I did was paid for the damn website to get done. So an apology, no. Stormy's in the confessional saying, you know, as a CEO and business person, you do kind of want to place the blame on someone else, but it truly falls on us. And I'm glad you know, because you are the queen of passing the buck. Stormy lets Tisha know that she feels like she should have reached out to her when it all happened. Tisha said, I wasn't reaching out to you. I'm not going to call you. I was too busy calling the web designer cursing his ass out. Stormy said, I mean, it was a bad look for you. Tisha said, it wasn't a bad look for me. Girl. Stormy said, yes, it was. Even the fact that the girl's launch was overshadowed by all that drama. Tisha said, well, it wasn't overshadowed at the bank. We made plenty of sales and plenty of money, so we were all happy. So Stormy's in the confessional about how this conversation changes her entire outlook on Tisha, because I could make this a really big deal and I'm giving so much grace and you can't even acknowledge that this was a bad look for you. Well, if it was a bad look for her, why do you care? Because you clearly don't really like her like that. This is a very frenemy-ish conversation. Now, if you're upset that she plagiarized your whole return or shipping policy or whatever it was, say that. But save this bullshit about you give a damn that it was a bad look for her or her kids, because that's not it. Tisha said, look here, what it comes down to is there's a whole lot of people that don't like me. Stormy said, I know, and that's my whole point, is that the same amount of hate you got, I got. Tisha said, well, for that, I apologize, because honestly, I had no clue. Stormy said in the confessional, now we getting somewhere. And she said she's big enough to let an isolated moment be just that, but she has her eye on Tisha. Girl, go put your eye on your business and leave us alone. So we move on and we see Chris going to meet with Nell because he wants to bring her up to speed about the conversation that he had with their son and everything that their son is dealing with emotionally. Chris said in the confessional that he's not sure that Nell is aware of how their son is feeling or the magnitude of his feelings, and he needs her to understand the way that he understands. So Chris, it looks like, went to Nell's daycare to deliver something to her. She comes outside to get it from him and they're having a conversation. He said, well, you know, I wanted to tell you that Chris came by my office and we got to talk. And she, well, how did that go? Chris said, I mean, it was interesting. She said, did you ask him why he ain't coming around? Because, I mean, he ain't paid me none of my money back. She said, I call him. He don't answer me. I mean, he could just call and make conversation. Just pick up the phone and say, hey, Ma, how you doing? I love you. Chris said, I mean, well, you know, Chris, he's, she said, an asshole. Well, like mother, like son. So Chris is explaining to her that their son told him the reason he doesn't come around, especially at family gatherings, is he feels like the family is always jabbing at him. And she said, well, I mean, that's the only time I see you. So yeah, I'ma come at you. I'm mama. I'ma get it off my chest. You won't answer your phone, but you show up for the dinner. I mean, what that look like? That look like I don't like you. That looks like I am related to you, and I will honor your request for this visitation, but I don't care to have a relationship with you. Related does not grant you relationship, and that's what you're getting ready to learn. You treat people like a personal punching bag. You just go off whenever the hell you ready. You don't have to to care how you talk to people because I'm mama and I'm going to get it off my chest. And then you wonder why don't nobody want to be around you. Chris is telling Nell that what he explained to their son is that the family is there to help him, to support him, that they're a unit. This lady said, no, we help him with everything. The help he needs is to get off his grown ass and make some grown ass decisions to do right by his parents and his siblings. You know what's ironic to me in this whole bullshit is as she's throwing everything in their faces about what they need to get together and all her money she throwing around. Am I incorrect in my understanding that this daycare that she owns is a business that she started with her mother and her sister? Nell said, you know what? Chris just likes to hold things over people's head. Ain't nobody holding shit over his head. Ma'am, you just finished saying that every time you see him, you gonna come for him, which is why the boy don't answer his phone to talk to you, but you don't hold nothing over his head. What are you talking about? She said, I mean, what if I held over his head when he needed 2 lawyers and shit like that? I mean, he's just a real typical asshole. Well, he's just like his mother. Chris is standing there scratching his head like it's just hitting him what kind of bullshit he dealing with. So Nell says in the confessional that Chris does experience a lot of criticism from the family, and she feels like he just doesn't like hearing the truth being told to him. And on top of that, she feels like he's just not happy with the outcome of his life and the choices he's made in his life. Chris said, listen, I understand he owes money, he doesn't come around and all that. But being in that office, listening to him speak his truth, I saw a side of him that, quite frankly, I've never seen before. And I really feel like he needs some help. He needs counseling. This lady laughed in his face and scoffed. What kind of help does he need? What, that he don't hear nobody but himself? Chris is not happy with his life. And you know, when Chris has some money and everything is on the up for him, can't nobody tell him shit, and you and I both know that. Well, he is an apple from your tree. Because let's tell the truth about it, you ain't happy with your life. You are over here with this man that has cheated on you apparently left and right. Maybe he done got too old or too tired to be cheating all the time. Y'all on TV now. He ain't got time to be exposed. He got a career and a name and all that shit. You are clearly unhealed from all of the drama and trauma that you have experienced in your marriage. And you have a venomous spirit that you project onto people. You are very nasty and very clearly unhappy with your life. You just have enough money to afford to buy nice things to distract you from your misery. And because you have a few dollars to buy nice things and distract you from your misery and compensate your children for the kind of parent you were, you can't be told anything either. So he is your child through and through. Chris said to Nell, well, maybe it's because I had the conversation that I still feel like he needs some kind of counseling. He needs some kind of help. He's not going to talk to us. He doesn't want to talk to his siblings. He said he spends a lot of time by himself. He gets up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and he just goes out driving. I don't even know where he said he goes. Nell, with her ignorant ass, well, what's open 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? He said nothing. He just goes out driving because he's awake. Well, see, that's the problem, because that's how you get your ass in trouble. I mean, you just randomly get your ass up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just go driving your ass around. This lady has the emotional intelligence of an ant. Chris said, all I know is it weighed heavy on me that our son is not coming around, that our son is going out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that he's spending a bunch of time by himself. It seems to me like he's falling into some form of depression. So Chris starts telling her how it broke him down to see their son like that. He said, you know, I had to gather myself in front of him, and I mean, I didn't really like that. And that's the point at which it starts to matter to her. Oh, you had to get yourself together in front of him because all you give a damn about is this man. Nell's response to that is, well, Chris been messed up since he got all them letters for football and it didn't go nowhere. That was his gift. And then he got in trouble with the law, and hell, we didn't help buying him souped up cars and stuff. That didn't help with teaching him responsibility. Well, let me ask you, what did you help your son do as a result or alternative of his football career not going anywhere? Chris said, I just think he's lost. I think he doesn't understand. Nell said, yeah, he is. I know he is. Of course he is. And of course you know he is, because that's the result of giving things rather than guidance. Nell said, yeah, well, I mean, if he's doing all that, then there is a problem. So, I mean, I tell him myself, don't even stress the money. I was just trying to hold him accountable. She said, I won't bring up money to him anymore. He's willing to go to counseling. I'm willing to see just what happens with that. We'll see if if anybody else can get through to him. Chris said, well, maybe he should start out by going by himself, and then if the counselor suggests maybe one or the both of us should join later on. She said, if he agrees to that, then I'll go, but I ain't about to get in no counseling session and get to arguing with Chris. I mean, whatever you need, I'll support you. And I mean, I'll support him too. All Nell give a damn about is Chris. All she care about is a man. As long as he happy and he here and these bills is paid and all the money is coming to me, that's all she gives a damn about. Just moving on. So we move on. We see Kimmy, Tisha, and Mel getting together for pedicures. Kimmy said she scheduled this get together since Tisha stomped out on the last one. Tisha gets there first, and she and Kimmy are catching up about the results of their yoni steam. Kimmy is asking her if she used some oil that they got from the place. Tisha said, I don't even know that I ain't never used it, but I think the whole steam might have worked because me and Marcel been having a good old time, girl. Tisha said, how has it been for you? Did it help you at all? Kimmy said, no. You can try all these different treatments, but the answer might be a different man. Kimmy said, well, let's talk about your mess. Did you tell Marcel about that pregnancy test? Tisha said, no. Tisha said he just laughing about, well, all he gonna say is whatever. Kimmy said, I don't know many men with vasectomies that say whatever to their wife taking a pregnancy test. Tisha said, well, sometimes they fail. I actually know 2 people who have gotten pregnant after vasectomies. Kimmy said, well, yeah, that's true. Now, my thing is this. I get that what Kimmy and Maurice are trying to get at, and what this whole storyline is trying to get at, is that Tisha might be out there doing her thing in the street. But common sense tells me that if Tisha really were out there doing something, and Tisha really thought she done messed around and got pregnant, and she knows she running between 2 men, common sense tells me she would never bring her ass down to the TV to take the damn pregnancy test. It's giving very scripted. It's giving playing in our face, but go ahead. So just as Kimmy is saying, I don't understand why Tisha is waiting to tell Marcel that she took this test. I mean, I would just tell him right away if it ain't nothing to it. Mel shows up. Mel said Kimmy invited her out for pedicures, but she doesn't really need one because she keeps her feet done. Like, girl, what is that to announce? She said, but they're all trying to get back on the same page and be cordial, so she's going to do her part and show up. Okay, girl. So Mel comes in and sits down. She said, well, how y'all doing? They said, we good. Kimmy said, how you doing? She said, I'm good. Kimmy said, yeah, you've been busy. Mel said, doing what? Kimmy said, well, you know social media is your diary, girl. Mel said, well, yeah, I share a lot of my life with my followers and supporters online. Kimmy said, yeah, I saw that you also posted online your name change ceremony. Mel said, Kimmy said, well, I wasn't sure about whether it was an invitation only, very intimate, like really short invite list, because I saw it on social media, but my phone never rang. I never got an invitation, so I'm just trying to understand. Kimmy said, in my mind, I thought it would have been the kind of event that all of us would have been invited to. Mel said, well, that's the thing. I didn't want it to become a thing, kind of like it is becoming a thing. Kimmy said, well, I mean, I saw it on the internet, and had I not seen it on the internet, I probably would have never thought twice about it. But once I saw it on the internet, my next thought was, oh, she's probably gonna text me, and you never did. Tisha said in the confessional, I ain't got shit to say because I ain't shocked she didn't invite me. I didn't expect her to invite me. But I think Kimmy is upset because Mel actually threw her a party for overcoming breast cancer. And when you throw somebody that kind of a party, you're typically pretty close to them. So I think Kimmy was a little bit hurt that she wasn't on the list. So Mel is telling Kimmy how she just didn't want this to become a thing. And Kimmy said, but you put it on the internet. Mel said, yeah, but I didn't want it to become a thing in the way of who I invited and this person feels betrayed because, you know, everything is all fun and games in this group until shit hits the fan. She said, for example, if I invite you, I have to invite Maurice. If I invite Tisha, I have to invite Marcel. And I didn't want it to be this thing of inviting people who are supposed to be friends with my ex, and then he's raising hell. Now that made sense until I thought about, well, if that's the case, why invite Chris and Nell? Because Chris is Martell's friend, and that's how you got to know Chris and Nell. It sounds like I just don't fuck with them Scots, and I will tell y'all that. Kimmy in the confessional with her feelings hurt about, well, you know, even when we're not getting along, we still attend and support each other's events. But she said she invited her closest, most intimate friends, so I guess she cleared that up. Mel said, but it was really nice. Thank you for asking. So Kimmy is asking Mel about the name change, and, you know, did it really give you what you expected it to give you? Mel said, absolutely. Kimmy said, really? She said, did it give you a sense of, like, Closure, Mel said, well, it gave me a sense of moving forward. I'm no longer attached to the name in that sense. My children will always be, but I'm married into that name. Girl, I mean, but ain't you always attached to the children who attached to the name? Okay. Kimmy goes on to ask Mel, so the whole thing about your kids having a different last name, did that not bother you? Mel said no. Kimmy said, well, I guess for me, when I got married, I moved my last name to my middle name. Are you talking about when you got married to Maurice? Kimmy said, you know, a lot of it was in my head for having children. You know, I never wanted to be in that stereotype of your children going to school and you have one last name and they have a different last name. Is she still talking about when she married Maurice? You didn't have no school-age children, and I don't think you were planning on having any. And ain't Maurice her first marriage? You weren't married to Jalen's dad. What are you talking about? Kimmy said, as African Americans, I think we're thrown into this stereotypical cycle of people assuming that a child doesn't have the same last name as the mother. And it's tragic. Girl, you're talking about being an unwed mother or a baby mama. You describing you had a child out of wedlock with a man we don't know nothing about. I don't know if this man was somebody else's man. I don't know if you know the man. I don't know. And that ain't our damn business. But you had a child with a man and gave the child your last name because the man never gave you his last name. And you think you're smarter than the average bear because you said, you know what I'm gonna do? I know how I'm gonna beat the game. I'm gonna give him my last name. Kimmy said, I don't know, that just mattered to me. Mel said, you mean being baby mamas and being unmarried and not having the last name? Is that what you mean? Kimmy said, I see exactly why you and Maurice are together. Mel said, well, you and Jalen technically don't have the same last name anymore. And see, you better than me because I'd have told her, well, the only reason Jalen has the same last name as you is because you wouldn't give him his father's name. Mel said, yeah, so just like you and Jalen no longer have the same last name, it's a part of life, marriage and divorce. That's just how it goes. I know what it is and my kids know what it is. Well, Mel is in the confessional telling the truth about why she didn't invite them. Mel said, I really wanted people there who had been supportive in my growth and in this new chapter of my life. And the truth of the matter is we just haven't been getting along the past few years. Mel said, well, while we addressing issues, Tisha, the last time I saw you, you went stomping out the place and it just seemed like you were over that whole conversation. Tisha said I was, and Kimmy told me that you felt a way about how that meeting went and the whole meeting that we had about the expo, that you felt like I had smoke for you. And I want to apologize that you felt that way because it wasn't personal. Tisha said, actually, I do appreciate you asking because we are at such a sensitive place that anything could really rock the boat. So I'm glad you brought it up. Kimmy said, well, this is why I wanted us to be able to get together because, you know, I wanted us to be able to look at the next step moving forward. Tisha said, we are moving forward. Kimmy said, but I mean, are y'all following each other on social media? Tisha said, no, I think we blocked and we gonna stay blocked. Mel said, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to unblock either. Kimmy said, I mean, why not? All she gotta do is send you a friend request again. Tisha said, no, it don't work like that. So production asked Mel, why can't you and Tisha unblock each other? Mel said, I think it's because we both have so many people blocked that we would be scrolling forever to try to find each other's names, girl. So we move on to the double date between Stormy and Courtney and Tisha and Marcel. And I don't know why they invited these people out because y'all clearly don't get along. Before Tisha and Marcel get there, Stormy and Courtney are shooting pool. They're waiting on them to get there, and Stormy is updating Courtney about the last conversation that she had with Tisha. About it was kind of awkward, and I think she was anticipating me bringing up all the stuff about the website. He said, well, what did she say about it? Stormy said, well, she started blaming the web designer and the assistant and everybody else. Courtney said, but don't she know that's her business and her problem? Stormy is telling him, well, I tried to make her understand that, but she ain't trying to hear me, and it really kind of turned me off, and I don't really think I like her as much as I thought I did. And Stormy is in the confessional speaking the most ignorant gibberish I do not understand. I don't know what the she is talking about. I done tried with these ass people. I'm thinking like, this bitch was just playing with me the other day, and ho, I let you make it, and you still playing with me. What? I want Stormy to get a book, a leapfrog, turn on Miss Rachel, whatever the children are doing to learn to read these days. She needs to do it and get her a damn vocabulary. I can't deal with this bullshit no more. So Tisha and Marcel finally get there. Apparently they're an hour and a half late. Stormy is in the confessional about they show up here over an hour late like they somebody, bitch, you ain't. But she in their face, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all late. Just pipe down. So Marcel, of course, rehashes the stupid ass cookout about how there was so much tension in the air. Stormy, tension where? He said in the air at the cookout. Sit down. Marcel said Kiki was mad with Tisha. Apparently Stormy brought the news that Courtney was mad with me. Courtney said, I'm mad at you, never was. He said, now, I didn't like when you called me Mr. Steele because I know you know my name is Beasley and that was some bullshit, but I ain't mad at you. Marcel said, yeah, I feel you, but that's also very selective outrage because you have a problem with me calling you by your wife's last name, but you didn't have a problem with your wife calling me a bitch 10 different times. Now Stormy looking confused and Courtney said, well, I mean, I had no problem with it. Stormy said, and you didn't have a problem with it, Marcel. Marcel said, yeah, that's all well and good, but I'm gonna get my lick back. Stormy said, but you could have got your lick back by telling me, Stormy, don't talk to me like that. Stormy, you shouldn't say things like that. So you want somebody to respectfully address your disrespect. Girl, go to hell. Stormy said, but you agreed with me and you said you were the biggest bitch. Now, maybe if you showed your feelings and act like you cared, then maybe somebody could care for you. So you want somebody to show you that you have the power to hurt their feelings in order for you to actually operate with any care or concern toward their feelings. Lay down in hell. Stormy is in the confessional about she stands on why she called Marcel a bitch. She just believes he was behaving like one, but she also is going to respect the boundary of not calling him that again, just out of respect for him and his wife. Stormy said, I mean, I just feel like you should have addressed me instead of doing what you did with my husband because, I mean, technically that's something a bitch would do. Marcel said, okay, so even after our conversation about the word, you still choose to use the term. Okay. Tisha said, why can't we just let that word go? Stormy said, I mean, I'm not calling you a bitch. I mean, not right now. Marcel said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just learn to ignore what you say. Stormy said, no, you ain't got to ignore me. That's disrespectful. That's why she got a drink thrown in her face. See, and that's why you need a foot thrown in your ass. Tisha said, why did I get a drink thrown in my face? Stormy said, because y'all was ignoring the out of Kiki. Tisha said, but that's not a reason to throw a drink in somebody's face. Stormy said, I'm not saying it's a reason, but that's why it happened. Tisha said, you know, I feel like Stormy is being really shady in this moment because for her to tell me that that's why I got a drink thrown in my face is rude. She said it's one thing for her to be like, you know, hey, I'm going to support her because I know she has this addiction and she has this issue. And I want to help her with it. But it's another thing to be like, yeah, that's why you got a drink thrown in your face. She said, clearly Stormy has a problem with me, which is exactly why she's trying to align with the damn cousin. Marcel said, well, you know what, Stormy, you've told me that in your culture, bitch is a common word. And I really don't have time to be learning adults' new culture. Now Stormy mad, she's stomping off. Y'all carry on. Courtney said, are you not going to come finish the game? No, I'll just watch you. And the episode came to an end with Stormy pretending like she had some business call. Tisha said, but you invited us here. And it looks like next week, Kimmy is going to be taking Maurice to see a sex therapist. Chris is going to be throwing in Martell's face that Mel no longer has his name. And Marcel is going to be finding out that Tisha took a pregnancy test. And Tisha going to be finding out that her husband don't buy her bullshit. But that's it, that's all. And I ain't got no more. Thank you so much for coming down here, listening to me and letting me get this off my chest. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you've not already. And in the meantime, until next time, just like every time, I love you and I mean it. Bye.